Well, good day to everybody. I hope you had a good 4th of July weekend. It is July the 5th for me. I don't know what day you'll be watching this, but please excuse the mess. I finally have air conditioning in my basement, so the construction continues. Get it back over here where I'm at. There we go. There we are. Excuse me. Today we're going to be talking about Chapter 18, commemorative speeches. Before I get into that, I've started grading your informative speeches, and I'm very impressed so far. It's difficult to do the first time. To me, I think they should call this class virtual speaking as opposed to public speaking because you don't have the advantage of an audience. But that's okay. We're going to get through this. Just keep believing in yourself. Now, commemorative speeches, they are much shorter, much more to the point, or they should be. I'm sure you probably heard some commemorative speeches that went much longer than you wanted them to go. Probably feel that way about some of my videos. But um, the thing about public speaking is you always want to leave the audience wanting more. If you do that, then you've succeeded because they want to hear from you. Well, let's talk a little bit about commemorative speeches. Chapter 18. What are commemorative speeches? Well, there's a few different kinds. There's introductions. You could be emceeing a program and introduce the guest of honor or introduce somebody that was going to do the speaking. You could do a presentation. You're giving somebody an award. You could be accepting an award, or it could be a commemorative speech where you want to commemorate an event or a person, um, such as a eulogy or the placing of a monument. So let's get into them. Introductions. When you do an introduction for somebody, you want to build enthusiasm for that speaker. You don't want to talk about yourself. You don't want to, toot your own horn up there. You want to get the audience excited to hear this person that you're going to introduce. You want to be positive all the time. You want to establish a welcoming climate for that person that's going to be introduced. You want to be accurate. There's a couple of things you need to worry about being accurate. One is you need to make sure that you pronounce their name right. It's always embarrassing if you pronounce their name wrong. So if it's a difficult name, make sure that you practice it many times before your presentation. If it's a name that is pronounced a certain way in a certain area, like Lafayette, uh, there's two different pronunciations for the same word. Jordan and Jordan. There's a family in Columbus that donated a lot of money to different places. They're the Jordans. But Michael Jordan says it's the Jordan. They're spelled the same. If you talk about the person's history, make sure that you're accurate. Don't say, he has a wife and 3 kids, or she has a husband and 2 children, if you don't know that that's correct. They may have uh, given birth or parented 2 children, but in the relationship they're in now, their partner may have brought in 2 more children, and they may consider them their own. So make sure that you understand what their background is. If you're talking about awards that they've received, verify the awards that they've received or the schools that they've gone to. I introduce people all the time at Rotary soldiers, and I get a biography in email generally a day or two ahead of time. But before the presentation starts, I sit down with this person and I go over that biography and make sure that the awards, the decorations, the family, and everything is accurate, because you don't want to look like a fool standing up there. You need to adapt to the speaker. Whoever you're going to present or introduce. You need to adapt to that person. You need to adapt to the audience. Do you have to speak louder because you don't have a microphone? Do you have to speak more slowly? Maybe you have an accent, or maybe the audience is English isn't their first language. Or, like I've used this example before, there's a lot of things I'll say to a general audience that I would not say to the Southern Baptist Women's Convention. So you have to adapt to that audience and create anticipation. This is a short period of time. You only got like 3 to 5 minutes doing this stuff, but you want them to be looking forward to hearing from whoever you're introducing. If you are making a presentation, make it brief. If you're presenting an award to somebody, don't go on and on and on and on. I'm sure you've probably been to award ceremonies where whoever's getting the award, whoever is presenting it, is talking about all kinds of stuff and telling a long history of the person. It's like an introduction. It's supposed to be brief. 3 to 5 minutes. That's it. You don't want to be up there forever. Tell everybody why you are presenting this award. What have they done? Did they raise $1 million for a charity? Did they start a movement of people planting trees? Did they discover a vaccine for the COVID virus? Mention the contributions of that person. And remember, it's about them. It's not about you. If you are accepting an award, make sure that you give thanks to those giving the award. There's nothing worse than having somebody be not appreciative for an award that they've received, because evidently a whole bunch of people thought they deserved it. And make sure that you thank those who helped you get there. You didn't get there alone. There's a saying, "No man is an island," and it's true. I would not be where I am at had it not been for the sojourners in my life that helped me get here. I couldn't have done it by myself. And I tell everybody, like, my wife was a military spouse. She was in the Army, but I say that's the hardest job in the Army, is the spouse, because we go do stuff and they stay home and take care of the kids and the finances and the broken bones and the measles and the mumps and the fevers and the flu, and we go out and have fun. There's a lot of times it wasn't fun, but I have more fun memories of the Army than I do not fun memories. And be humble. Make sure that if you are receiving an award, you are humble. It turns people off when you're arrogant. If I deserve this award, you're damn right I did. It's about time they gave it to me. And no, you don't deserve it. Let's just take it back, because you need to be humble. Commemorative speeches, generally you're praising somebody or something. It's a celebration. Even a eulogy is a celebration. It's a celebration of life. One of the hardest things to do is a eulogy. I had a student last semester, maybe a semester before last at CSU. A friend of his has died in a wreck, and his friend's mother asked him to speak at the funeral. He said, "Do you have any advice?" And it's like, oh, I've had to do that before. It gets pretty rough. I went to my father, this guy my father grew up with. My father considered him a brother. He didn't have any siblings, and he passed away. And I took my mom down there, and his wife asked me to speak like 5 minutes beforehand. And it's one of the hardest things I had to do without becoming emotional. And trust me, I became emotional. It's rough to, especially if you're close to somebody, to talk about them at a funeral, knowing that they're gone. This is a side story. My brother-in-law passed away, and we went to Illinois. And I always wear a suit. Yeah, that's the way I was raised. And they're all blue collar, and they didn't wear suits. And so everybody at the funeral home at the viewing thought that I would worked at the funeral home because everybody at the funeral home had a suit on, and I had one on. But nobody knew me because my wife left Illinois years ago, and it was difficult. But I found that in the viewing and everything else, you often hear laughter, and you hear laughter because people are remembering the good things, the good times, and you hear crying as well. But if you are going to give a eulogy, you need to express feelings and sentiments, express hope, express joy. Uh, whatever religious belief that you have, most of them believe that beyond this life, there is a better life, whether it's through reincarnation or through heaven or whatever. So express your feelings for the person, express joy that maybe they're no longer suffering. You know, it's kind of hard to express joy when somebody was young and passes away unexpectedly. It's more often than not you're grieving because they had a whole lot ahead of them. But um, you know, try to find something in there that can express hope and joy, express condolences, make sure that the family knows, their other significant others know that you are sincerely sorry that they're gone. And another in celebrations is weddings and toasts. Now I'm going to put a video link on there with this. It's not me. It talks about toast at weddings, and make sure that you make it about them. You know, the couple getting married, not about you. I've seen a lot of toasts where people were talking about themselves. And the other thing that you need to make sure of is that it may be a great story. It may be something funny between friends, but great grandma and aunt and uncle and mom and dad weren't there, and they might not find the humor that you and your frat brothers and sorority sisters found in their drunken antics. So you have to be careful of who's in the audience and worry about insulting them, worry about hurting their feelings, worry about embarrassing the person that you're toasting. You need to talk about the past, you need to talk about the present, you need to talk about the future. And it's best not to try to have something completely memorized. Now, if you know this by heart, for example, my favorite quote to use at a funeral is "Don't be dismayed by goodbyes. A farewell is necessary before friends can meet again, and meeting again after moments or lifetimes is certain for those who are friends." That was written by Richard Bach in a book called Illusions, and I really like that. But I've been to people try to memorize their speech, and I was on a plane going to Canyon, Texas, and this young lady was sitting next to me and we were talking, and her and her family was flying back from Florida. They were at a funeral, at a wedding. I'm sorry, sometimes I get those two confused. But they were at a wedding, and she was supposed to give the bridesmaid toast because the girl her brother was marrying, didn't have any family there. They were military, and they were in the middle of nowhere. And so she was going to give the bridesmaid toast, and her brother, another brother, not the one getting married, told her she's going to mess up. And she memorized it and worked on it and memorized it and worked on it. And she started giving the toast, and she messed up. And she said, "Oh, F." I'm not going to say it. Y'all know what she said. And then she realized, I said the F word in front of Grandpa. And she was embarrassed. So, toast are something you need to keep short and sweet, and not try to have this written script that you're going to memorize and really, write it ahead of time and sound da 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 da. It's much better if you know what you want to talk about, just like any other speech. and talk about it instead of trying to have every word memorized exactly. And if you have to quote something, like I said before, read a quote. It's okay, but paraphrasing is much better. So that is basically commemorative speeches. And you will have to do a commemorative speech. And so make a toast, make an introduction, praise somebody, praise an event. Um, you can introduce your grandmother. You can introduce your father if you think it, pretend that you're at a ceremony and they're getting the lifetime achievement award for whatever field that they're in. You can do a toast like if you were at a wedding. If you have somebody's wedding coming up that you want to go to, and you can make a toast and practice that toast with us. If you've lost somebody, you could give us a eulogy, whichever you want to do. I'll be using the same grading rubric for it. I want the same outline for it. And the due date and everything will be online. Any questions you have, feel free to email me. Most of you have emailed me, and I've generally said call me if it gets in deep. But my phone number is 706 329 7960. If you can't get a hold of me via email and you really need me, then call me. Believe in yourself. We're going to make this happen. Thanks. Have a great week, and I'm looking forward to more speeches. Bye, y'all.